Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Avini Vibes. So grateful to be here. It's a beautiful day in paradise, as they say, even though it is a bit chilly, but it's okay because we have to have those change of temperatures, I think, to keep us moving and looking forward. You know, it's always about looking forward. I always look forward to Thursday nights. Thursday, February 19th, 2026. I'm your host, Christine Rolando, with Carol Wittenhouse, always helping out and always being there to support the tech part of this and some. We're blessed to have these incredible technologies with Avini. The leadership is amazing, and the company is definitely saving and changing lives. It's just a blessing. You know, Eddie Kowalski, my sponsor in this, always says we're not a supplemental company. We take out the bad and we make room for the good. And what I just want to do is take a moment to just give a clap and a hands up for those Olympians. Wow, has anybody watched the Olympics? Isn't it
Yeah,
great? I mean, it's amazing to watch what these people can do and the commitment that they have, the commitment to be excellent. And that's what I know from Aviniites, the commitment to be excellent. That's going to be our theme for tonight, the commitment to be excellent. And what I want to do is I see Tony Abeta joined us tonight. I want to commend you
oh,
for the
Tony.
diamond call last night. Guys, if you're not on these diamond calls on Wednesday night, last night was a real a hands on of how to. You know, sometimes we think everybody knows how to use their back office and the reports and all of those things, but you know, we always have so much teaching going on in Avini. You know, you could spend your life just in the learning classroom of Avini. And so I think Dave Gilday says you're not working unless you're talking to a new prospect. So I hope that we're all doing the learning, but we're all out there sharing because that's what this is about. I'm just going to remind us that we don't make medical claims, we don't diagnose, and we don't treat. We're here to learn, to listen up, and I see Chip in the house, so that's great too. I like when Tony called him Sir Chip is in the house, and Chip's going to be here tonight a little bit later to jump in and answer some questions about the new products. I wasn't fortunate enough to go to the summit this year, but many of you did. And tonight we're going to have Joe G. I'm going to turn it over to him. Joe, as we know, my SEAL Team 7 partner here, and Joe Big Gulp, we know him as. So, Joe, I'd like you to turn it over to you and give you the floor to share. So, thank you, Joe, for being here all the way from the West Coast.
You're very welcome, Christine, and thank you for the time, and thank you everybody for joining us today. What I'd like to do is give you a very top line view of all the excitement that came through at the convention because it was a tremendously exciting convention for a whole bunch of reasons. And I'll start off with the one thing that struck me, and it's something that's for my 30 years in the industry was unique, is that there's a coming together. There's everybody's pulling at the same oar. Everybody is wanting to help each other. Um, so many companies, you see the fragmentation of if you're not in my downline, I won't talk to you. We started off on Thursday with our training, and every one of the diamonds was up there. They were all talking, sharing the things that they were doing so that it would spread to everybody and sharing it without holding anything back. And so that was the first exciting part. And I'd like to give you a couple of tidbits on that, and then I'll go into the products which I am really pumped up about, and you'll see a couple of reasons why when I get into that part. But we started off with Mickey talking about how to run the fast track plan. Not going to go into too much in that because he's already trained on that. We did have Chris Bruce, come up, and he shared a couple things about sharing, which is a double alliteration of words, but sharing is sharing. And remember, we always talk about that stories sell, facts tell. He told two stories about somebody that was way out there in reaching people. And I think you'll get a tremendous kick out of both of these. I had a smile on my face when I was thinking about him. One of his friends from years back had a bumper, a license plate that actually said bonus. And so he's driving down the freeway, and all of a sudden, this guy's behind him, starting not the freeway, it's city streets, and the guy's beeping his horn, beeping his horn, beeping his horn. And Chris's friends looking and going, "What's going on? What's going on?" And so he looks in the window, and the guy goes, "Pull over, pull over." So he pulls over. The guy gets out of his car, and he says, "What's the bonus?" And so he had put bonus on it, and that stimulated somebody to come and actually ask him what was a bonus. And so the message that Chris was talking about was find one thing that you want to share and get good at sharing that. And what you want to do is you want to share enough that they want more information. I'll tell you an even funnier one. This another guy, not the same guy, but probably crazier than the other one. He was going down the road and he saw a couple in the behind him. One was a very nice looking lady, and he pulled his car to make them stop. And he got out of the car, walked up to the lady, and said, "I'm going to marry you one day." And obviously, that take a heck of a lot of nerve to do that. So if we talk about sharing what we share, he said that, and it ended up happening that they've been happily married for 67 years. So he talked about being bold with sharing. So find one thing that you're good at sharing about. Dave Gilday, congratulations to him on becoming a diamond. He talked about plug in, get people paid, and get people promoted. That's a simple mantra for what you need to do, and that has to come fast. And one of the other things that he shared, which is an answer to a question, because people say, "What are you doing?" And one of his comments, which really resonated to me, was, "We are in an industry that the common person has no income ceiling." Do you think that might prompt somebody to say, "What?" And that's a question, an opening phrase, something to prompt somebody to want more. So those are a couple of them. Share a couple other ones that I think that you find interesting. Kyle. Kyle said, go tell your story, develop your own story. How'd you get into the business? Why'd you get into the business? And what's your real reason behind it? His real reason was not money. His real reason was the hope of being with his family. So whatever your reason is, sharing that with people will open the people up to wanting to hear more. Because maybe there's a reason that they are in the same sort of situation that you're in, or they're in something you don't know about that would make a big difference to them. The other one, there was a comment about what we should do. Dave Johnson made a comment that I also stuck in my mind, because after calling hundreds and thousands of people over the years, he made it so simple for us to think about. He said, "We are looking for people who are looking for me." Think about that. So we're not in the convincing business. We're looking for people that are looking for what we got. A big, big, important issue. The Paul Stowers was talking about objections are not battles to win. It's an opening the door to have a conversation. If somebody says there's an objection or brings up an objection, you then talk with the three-way, which of course Dave Johnson was talking about three ways, and get their answers. So you shouldn't be concerned about objections. Going on, talking a little bit more about learning. It's a comment that I really appreciated was, it's better to say something poorly than to not say anything at all. If the person is, some of us, have had a lot of public speaking. Some of us had no public speaking. But if you say something and the person really has the interest, they're going to come back to you and they're going to say, "Well, what's it about?" All you want is that come back. What's it about? And then you can talk to them and then bring in, as Dave always tells us, to bring in the three-way to share. And there's a phrase that I learned several years ago, which is one that I always speak about. It's three-way or go away, or three-way or fade away. Both of those, because it's so important for us to be able to reach out and to have support, because people don't learn things overnight. We can get them started, but we have to be there, part of the help. The other thing too is always work on your own testimonial, which gets into where we are with the two product lines. And as Rick has always said to us, we want to have unique products, fairly priced, only available through us, and at the best prices available using the best ingredients. And that mantra has been his for the last 30 plus years. So he does not want to skimp. Neil doesn't want to skip. So if there's something that's positive that we need to have that costs a little bit more, we're going to get that one instead of having something that's lesser to us.
Hey, Joe.
That's yeah,
I just want to mention too, there's some guests on. So Rick Deitch, our biochemist, and Neil
yeah.
Roth, our CEO. That's who Joe's referring to. Thank you.
Thank you. So what we did is our company is a detoxification, getting the bad out so that the good body can take care of itself. A cleaner, healthier body can heal itself. And so along the way, there are still people saying, well, are we going to get vitamins? Or are we going to get probiotics? The brilliance which came out again, as it always comes out from Rick was, well, let's think about, what we're doing. In our meal replacement, which tastes delicious, you don't need a vitamin because he put all of those in there for us. In the fiber product, which is an extraordinary product in its own merit, and many of us have already seen it and experienced it, there are people saying, well, I need some probiotics for my digestion program. So does that mean we add a probiotic? No. Carol, could you put up the first one, which is the probiotic fiber?
I, I
So what
can.
Rick did, and I'm going to give you a very high overview of this, and I'll defer to two experts. The ultimate expert, Rick, which is going to be actually talking on Saturday on Dave Johnson's call, doing a recap of the convention, recap of the products. And then, of course, we have Chip in the room, the second most expert person. But he put probiotics, four digestive probiotics, into the fiber that will help people not only get the nutritional value of the fiber, but also have the digestion processes that a lot of people are concerned with. And he highlighted something that I've known for years, but the average human being average person in the world gets about 14 grams of fiber. There's no question in any doctor's mind anywhere in the world that it should be a minimum of 30. So how do you go from 14 to 30? If you have a fiber that's put together, that's the matrix that we have in our Avini fiber, you can bump up that amount of fiber into your body to put yourself into that healthy zone. And adding the probiotic to it was just flat out brilliant because then we have the both things for us to have. We have the fiber, which we've already know is fabulous, and then we have the probiotics for the digestion process on it. The next thing, which is one that has always been a major concern of most people in the United States. And when I travel, as many of you know, it's amazing because if you're traveling on a tourist situation, you can go, that's an American, that's an American, that's an American. How do you know that? Anybody want to make a comment? It's usually the size of the person. Because there's a difference in what people eat and how they eat. Many European people are a lot more naturally oriented. Because in the United States right now, the numbers show that 60% of all the population in the United States is considered obese. 15% is considered morbidly obese. So is weight management and weight loss something that's important? And it is. And we have been working on our weight management program with our delicious meal replacement. If you haven't tried that, another tidbit on my back history, I love milkshakes. I work for Baskin Robbins. There was never a bad milkshake. I've had licorice milkshakes. I've had banana milkshakes. I've had strawberry milkshakes. So any sort of milkshake is a delicious milkshake. And I can tell you, our fiber, our meal replacement of the fiber is as good as some of the milkshakes I've ever made in my career. It tastes great. It tastes great. So we knew that could be a great meal replacement. Then we had the coffee. Now, people put the coffee in. Some people don't like coffee. That's why we got chocolate. Then we got the matcha tea. Then we got the lemonade. But still, people love simple. People love simple. And what's simpler than popping a pill? So the next one I'd like to put up, Carol, if you could, is the combination pitcher. That's the weight
Okay.
man. Well,
Oh,
let's leave this one up first, and then we'll put the package together.
okay.
What what Rick put together is the weight loss properties that we have in our coffees and matcha teas and put it into capsules. Put it into capsules so that a person could just take the 3 capsules before the meal, have a metabolic burn, and not have as much appetite because a little bit of appetite suppressant in there's a little bit of caffeine. By the way, I'll answer the question ahead of time. The serving is approximately the same as the serving of the coffee, which is 125 milligrams of caffeine. And you take this about an hour before your meal. But then you need a package. You need to put all the pieces together. And so, how do we do that? So, Carol, if you could go to the next one.
Okay, yeah, hold on, because
All
they're
righty,
not
not a
together.
problem.
So hold on one second. All right. I
She'll
am
Trust me,
find
if
it.
it was if it was me, we'd be holding on for a minute. So that's why I begged Carol to
hold
put the
on
slides
here.
on for me.
Get it here.
That's why I
Hold
said I do not want to be responsible for the slides too.
on. Okay. Let's see. Where did it go? The weight
Weight
loss
loss program.
program. Here we
There you
go.
go.
There we
There
go.
we go.
Mhm.
So right now, the buzz out there is the GLPs, GLP-1s.
Yes.
And once things are out there for a period of time, those little quick disclaimers at the end of the TV ads start to get a little bit bigger in people's minds. And Rick shared with us some of the issues. Those GLP-1s reduce muscle tissue. Does anybody think that's a good idea? Chip can join in and comment on that one. And Rick will most certainly do it on Saturday. And the other thing is there's a increased risk of pancreatic issues. Price point for taking the shots, $150 to $200 a month, and risking some major challenges. So Neil said, we need a package. We need a package that's together that makes sense for the consumer, that's priced right, so that we can offer a weight management and a weight loss program that we can use. Because if we're talking about those who are a little bit more introverted instead of extroverted, if you saw one of your friends lost a couple of pounds or had lost a lot of pounds, what do you think the average person is going to say? You look great. What did
Right.
you do? What did you do? And so consequently, this is a means of communicating the value of our products because the proof of the pudding is in the visual. So what he did was he said, okay, let's put this thing together as tightly as possible financially. So the actual pills, he put together 2 of the pills. You take them three pills at one time, an hour before your meal. And so if people want to lose weight and they have an aggressive program, they would want to take it before their first, or excuse me, their 2 largest meals. So you have your large meals, usually lunch, large meal dinner. And then what else would you want to do? Well, the protein shake, you can have the protein shake as a meal replacement for one of those meals. Obviously, it would be probably not your dinner for most people, but it would be the lunch. And so putting that package together will give an opportunity for persons to get a weight loss program because you're burning things because of the increased metabolic processes, you're being satiated, and it tastes good at the same time. Again, that's a very top level like this, talking to you. But you'll see when Rick gets into more detail, and Chip will probably join in with a couple of commentaries on this one. We're offering to people the opportunity to have a safe and healthy weight loss program for under $100 a month if they put it on auto ship. That's fantastic pricing.
Bravo.
Fantastic pricing. So when you take a look at that, the question is, did anybody try it out? Well, I'm going to tell you one thing, then I'm going to show you something. But I'm going to tell you first, many of you on this call know who Heath is. Heath is our customer service director, a phenomenal guy, a gentleman who will take the shirt off his back to help you. Let's put it that way. But was he a little chunky? Yes, he was a little chunky. So what he did over a period of time is follow this weight loss program. He doesn't normally eat breakfast, but an hour before his lunch, he would take the 3 capsules. Sometimes he would do a meal replacement. And then an hour before he was having dinner, he would have the fiber and the meal, excuse me, the capsules. And so what happened after 2.5 months? In 2.5 months, he lost 19 pounds and 4 inches off of his waist. Would that impress somebody? Would that be noticeable to everybody?
Absolutely.
And there are those who have more of a challenge. And there are those who have more of a challenge, and it obviously works for people who have more of a challenge, but they got to be more, yeah, like Keith was, follow the directions, doing exactly as it should be done. And for those of you who have attended the convention that we have, there's the fellow that is the big, excuse me, he's the big, deep voice that resonates. And it's almost godlike, to coin a phrase. And so Neil would always turn to the DJ and he'd say, God, do you have anything to say about that? Sandra, I see you smiling on that one. And he would go, yes, Neil, what can I help you with? Well, he was also a fairly chunky man. I would go even a little bit beyond chunky. I don't have all of its particulars, but I'm going to show you a picture.
Okay,
Could
here
you
I go.
put the picture up?
Hold on, here it is.
Is that amazing?
Absolutely.
So does everybody need to lose that amount of weight? No, of course not. But we have somebody that needs to lose a lot. He was able to lose a lot. And then on top of that, we have Heath, who is in the middle of losing, and he lost it following a simple procedure at a very, 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 very affordable price point. So we're going to get out there in front of everybody, and we're going to be talking about that. And there's, from a point of view of doing a little bit of a recap, if I could have the actual says important information from the
Yep.
convention, Carol will put that slide up.
Yep.
Then we'll turn it over to
We'll give it back to, we're going to give it to Chip next. Okay.
Uh-oh,
yep.
wait a
Yeah.
minute. Saying it could not take, hold on. There we go.
There we go.
Can everyone
Okay,
see
so
it?
important
Yep.
recap takeaways. Number one, we have a lot of products, and I'll tell you a story that was happening. I was talking to one of my distributors who was in a car driving up to Los Angeles, and he had a driver because he's getting a little bit old up there. He doesn't drive as well as he can dance. And for those of you who know who I'm talking about, you should see some big smiles. Look at Christine's smile. Rich and Eddie's smile. And Sandra, you saw the gentleman going out there and dancing with people. That's Richard Becerra. We counted, and Hannah, you saw him too. I think Mickey told me he saw him dancing with 11 different ladies over the night. And so he's getting driven up to LA to have his car serviced. And he puts me on the line with the gentleman. He says, could you tell him about our products? And I said, yeah, we're detoxing. What do you work in? And he goes, yeah, I'm exposed to chemicals. I'm very interested in that. And then they said, well, if you're a laborer, you probably have pains. And he goes, oh God, I'm definitely interested in that. And then I said to him, well, we have other products too for pain relief. We have a little bit for weight loss. I don't know if you were in your family. So just piquing his attention because he's doing 70 miles an hour going up Interstate 5. Then I said to him, we got one even better product. And he goes, well, what's that? You can make money. And his answer was, wow, that's cool. So we're in a business. There's nothing to be ashamed about being in a business. And so we have the products, we have the business, and the products feed the business, and the business feeds the products, and it all works together. So what Neil did was he extended the 50% additional bonus all the way through April 7th. So those of you who have seen it before, you sponsor 2 people, you get your money back if you're a new distributor. and you get 50% more bonus, and that's paid the next week. I'm not going to get too far into that. The person who invited you to listen on the call can fill in those details, but that's a phenomenal commitment on his part to take these things that we have and launch us even higher to the growth goals that we want to have. The product recap, 8 a.m. on Saturday morning, Rick is going to be doing a discussion of the products with Dave Johnson on his Zoom call. So if you don't have that Zoom, speak to the person who's your upline, speak to Carol, speak to Eddie, or speak to myself or whoever you have on the line. Get that Zoom link, and the meat will be put on all the product discussions, and there will be also a recap on the other products, but mostly the focus on the new ones. We've updated our call schedule on the Tuesdays. Tuesday, first one, of course, is Neil. The second one, which is another mention that I wanted to bring up for the everybody's understanding, we're in a different world today. Social media is a big, big deal, a big, big deal. And those of us who are a little bit older, we don't know how to do it as well as we could. And so when we first put our some of our websites up, Neil's comment, we were getting like 100 hits on them. So Neil said, okay, how do we fix this? Well, we go to somebody who knows how to fix this. And so we employed a lady named Nicole that tweaked up our social media, tweaked up things that we can put in the back office so that we can post on our own social media. And in September, we had 100 hits. In January, we had 20,000 hits. So she will be teaching us exactly how to put this up on social media to get people interested and asking questions. So she's going to be doing an ongoing Tuesday night call, speaking about social media, what to do, how to do it, and focusing on the back office and how to pull it out. And then in addition, talking about the back office, we did some work on the back office and making things even better on the back office. And we had a presentation from, I'm slipping my mind a little bit.
Michael?
Help me, Michael on the back office. And, he's making it easier for people to use, putting more content on the back for posting, not only for the social media, but for the ability to communicate with people. Use the tools. He made a comment, which is one that most people don't realize. Many companies charge anywhere from $25 to $50 a month to have an office, and they're not halfway near as robust as the one we have.
The truth,
Because
yeah.
Neil believes in it. He believes in us. Then we're going to get on the road before we get on the road, the fourth Tuesday is going to be weight management. He's going to suggest to everybody that you take a before and after picture and use that as part of your package of social media. Do you think that might prompt some questions? Unquestionably. We're going to do a regional May 15th and 16th in Boca. Neil anticipates that the additional 15,000 square feet of warehouse will be open. There'll be tours. There's more information to come on that. That's the first one that's coming up. The next summit, Neil heard you, all of you who are on the East Coast. We're going to the East Coast.
Hallelujah.
I think Christine had that on the speed dial. She would, Neil, when are we going to the East Coast? Neil, when are we going to the East Coast? Yeah. So we said, yes, we're going to the East Coast. And not only are we doing the fun aspect of Vegas, when we go to Las Vegas for that fun part, we're now going right outside of Disneyland and Disney World. So it's the training will be on the 15th of October. 16th and 17th is the summit. It's going to be the DoubleTree in Orlando, and obviously there'll be more information, to come on that. It was one of the most exciting conventions I've ever been to. And Christine, I swore I'd keep it to a half hour. I am right at a half hour, so I'm going to turn it back to you.
All right. Thank you so much, Joe. Great job. Excellent. Excellent. You're a very good communicator and appreciate your efforts. Chip, we'd like you to jump in a minute, if you would. If you could comment, you were there. You and Tony were both there. and share a little bit about what your thoughts are and maybe a little bit about the products, the two new products.
Well, I didn't make a time promise to Christine, so here we go. Hang on, Joe. I thought Joe was beautifully prepared. He had a lot of great things to say. I wanted to just kind of highlight who you're hearing from. If you're brand new on the call tonight, wouldn't it be encouraging to know that Avini comes from smart and it attracts smart? Carol Witt, that's moving the pictures on and off, has started a effort that's international, where young people are creating their own businesses, and now it's in more than 80 countries, I think, something in that neighborhood. Christine
82.
Rolando, 82. There you go. So Christine Rolando, who is introducing everybody, is one of the top horse appraisers in the world. I'm talking about horses that have 2 commas in their value that maybe run in races that are famous. Joe Gershnick is not a network marketer. He is a pro marketeer. He worked for 7-Eleven coming up with their worldwide programs. If you ever heard of Big Gulp, his nickname is now Big Gulp. He came up with that concept. Not good for you. Now he represents things that are good for you. All those little cups that are flavored that you rip the top off of and dump in your coffee, that's Joe Gershanik. Amazing, amazing guy. Water skier too, which is cool. Ed Klosky sitting over there in the corner, pro baseball player. Sandra Thornton, PhD level psychotherapist. Hannah Stringer damages vehicles and stands up and walks away. Neil, I don't know exactly what Neil does, except that he's suddenly got a raging Avini business near the home office in Boca Raton. So Neil Lemelman. DJ Thump, a victim of crime. He was a gangland initiation victim, guy that didn't know him or his wife or anybody. Walked up to his car, shot his wife once, killed her, shot him 8 times, and didn't kill him.
Mm.
If you can imagine, there's trouble in the humans. Shouldn't that be caught in the filters? Our products are designed to improve the way that people behave and think about each other, so they're not running around unintentionally intoxicated, doing horrible things, thinking that that'll be, I don't know, how does that elevate you? I don't get it. Heath Burrell, our customer service guy that we were speaking about a moment ago, when Neil and Rick called Marcy and said, we're going to start Avini, her first comment was, the top customer service guy in the entire industry is Heath Burrell. Go get him. And Neil said, I've already got him. And so that's the kind of level. I think sometimes people see the way we work and think, who would do that? Well, bright people who are searching for, I used to say cheap thrills because I thought, my sports, parachuting and bungee jumping and hang gliding and barefoot water skiing, I thought those were cheap thrills. And I've improved that now. How does that relate to Avini? Avini is thrilling moments in life. When you come and you see people that are here partially because you told somebody one time a long time ago, and all of a sudden these brilliant people are here representing a big idea that can make all the difference for all the people in the world. What Joe is describing to you, and the reason that it struck him that way, the way the event fell to him, and I know several of you that were there for that, or others that I've seen at other events. And this is a goal. This is intentional to me. I get to be right now your master distributor and on your science advisory board. The personality of the company, the nature of the company. I want those events, even when they get big, still at this side, I want it to be an intimate, big event. And if you were there, I suspect someone beside you and you provided it to someone else, that you felt like you got to talk to someone who, was just the right person for you and just the right moment for you. But we provide that intentionally for people. I know those of you that are, A's on 3-way calls, or you're the connectors, the be on, or if you've been invited to be on this tonight, somebody thought enough of you. They think that you're the kind of person who can become an angel in other people's lives and offer something that might make all the difference. Yes, I did say that you could become an angel. You have stepped into a stream of miracles. They're not going to quit happening just because you need one or it's you that's representing them. My last comment is going to be, I hope it all led up to this. I want you guys to be very proud of who you are and what you do. I believe that there's a day coming. It's already here for me. I hope it's here for Tony sitting next to me here, that you're so proud that people look at you and say, wow, your career was helping to get this started in America, helping to get this started in the world, that you're one of the founding members of Avini. If you're on tonight, you have the chance to be a founding. We're in the early days of Avini. And I believe it's one of the most prized professions that you could possibly have. That's why people like you see on the call tonight are attracted to come here and work. That's what I got.
Wow, thank you, Chip. Very, very powerful and so true. It's a collection of smart people. I had the opportunity tonight. I don't know why I did it, but I drove an hour and a half to a networking event at SUNY College in New York State. It was in the middle of nowhere. Sandra will appreciate this. So I went to this networking event Chamber put on. They had a lot of the students there, the culinary students, different students. And I looked around, I didn't know a soul, one person I actually knew, but it was out of my comfort, not out of my comfort zone, but out of my neighborhood. But I just watched and listened and saw who I could talk to. And the president of the college walked up to me and he shook my hand and he says, "I know you." And I said, "You do?" And he says, "Yes, we met." And I said, "Oh." And he remembered from an event that we did years ago. And long story short, I told him about Avini. And I told him why we should have this program. And I was, Chip, proud to say to him, "Can we do an entrepreneurship?" And I know somebody, Carol Witt, who blah, blah, blah. So it's that connections, the entrepreneurs. All of you are here tonight because you're special. You're invited, as Chip said. You know what really stood out? What you just said, Chip? Shouldn't that be caught in the filters? Wow, that's a powerful phrase. Shouldn't that be caught in the filters? Yeah, so that's what we all have to do. I just really am grateful to host this with Carol and Joe. Great job. Great, great job. You did a fabulous job as usual, and you are so well prepared. Next week, we're going to have Sandra Thornton on, and we're going to learn more from her walk of life as a university professor and in her field of work. So I want you to think about who you're going to invite next week to hear how Avini can change their lives from 3 people maybe on a call to now how many were at conference? 500, 600, right, Tony? Tony, I want you to comment and close this tonight. I'm putting you on the spot. But Tony, appreciate you so much. And I just want to ask you if you'd give us a few words of wisdom and close us this evening.
Oh, I think take this from a bottle experience to the entire Avini experience. We are so much more than a simple bottle of cell defender. It is a life, it is a lifestyle, and we are proud to be here. And we are just so proud to embrace every single person that's here and go forward to our countries, to our world. We're just thrilled. We're just thrilled.
Amen. Thank you. Well said. All right, everyone. Good night. We'll see you next week. Go out in Avini and share and don't be timid. Go for it. Tell everybody, go to that person that might be praying for the answer and you have it. God bless each and every one of you. Good night now.
Great
Right.
job, Joe. Good night, everyone.
Can't
Thank you,
wait to hear
everybody.
Sandra next week.
See you
Yeah,
next week.
Sonya's next week. Good night, everybody.
Night.
It's been
Bye.
real.